Hello everybody, I am Ben from Team Panic, and today we're going to be looking at how Annie Are You OK did at ARC's March meet. It was just Annie this time. The multi-brain is still up here without electronics in it, so I was unable to fight that. Annie herself only had a couple of minor changes off the last video. I removed the standoffs because I couldn't quite get the angle to sit right so that the blade would sit perfectly where I wanted it to, so I just reverted that change. I left the tooth pulley on and I made her top plate out of a thin, flexible 2mm HDPE. It's not a lot, it saves a lot of weight, and it's enough for the competition at ARC. Or at least it was enough for the competition while going into this competition. Anyway, so that is the setup for this. Let's jump straight on into the first fight. So the first fight is up against Antidozer. It is a 6-wheeled robot with 2-wheel drive, I believe, with a nice heavy steel plow up the front. So it is really going to be one of those cases where I really have to get round to the side and get in underneath the wheels. So our belt issues continue. So the belt will spin the whole weapon up. It will get the weapon going, but then after 2 hits, either the belt stretches or something, and it just doesn't work anymore. This belt system has given me no end of trouble, and it looks like even with these new toothed pulleys that I have printed up, it is still going to give us no end of trouble. Of course, once the weapon goes down, then Annie only has very thin wheels, and I mean, even though I've got nice grippy silicon on here, he had double the thickness wheels of mine and had nice grippy silicon, so I was never going to win that pushing fight, and we didn't. It's the way that goes there. So, now that we've gone up against one nice pushy robot that was really hard for us to beat, we're going up against another nice pushy robot that's going to be really hard for us to beat. Next up is Battle Bot, which is a nice big dustpan style robot without a dustpan in the bottom of it, and instead has metal down the front to actually stop Annie. That metal is there specifically to stop Annie. So let's take a look at this one. So the weapon actually worked a little bit better. I swapped a new belt in for this fight. I tried to rejig things as much as I could to get as much belt tension going as I could. And the weapon did work better. It bounced off the walls a couple of times and it was still going towards the end there. He did a really good job with his nice big scoops of keeping me up against the wall, which did not help me at all. Being pushed up against the wall is one of those things that I still haven't found a good way out of yet as a driver. So at some point I'm sure I will work that out. But up until then, he did a really good job of keeping me where I didn't want to be. I was focused on that weapon and keeping that weapon going, and I didn't even see the pit drop. So yeah, I kind of drove myself into the pit on that one, which we're not having good luck at this event, and that's a real thing. Anyway, moving right along because I don't want to be talking about this fight anymore. We're going up against another good pushy wedgie robot. This one is called Trash, and it is actually really quite interesting because the entire robot is made of recycled materials. They're bottle tops and bottles that have been melted down to make the sheets of plastic that make up the outside of Trash, and hence it is called Trash. So that, I think, is probably the best the weapon system worked in this entire fight. A couple of really nice big hits in there, which is what I wanted to see. But obviously, I mean, even though I'd swapped the belt out between fights, in actual fact, Battle Bot and Trash were technically back-to-back fights. But I went in against Battle Bot and then asked for 5 minutes to swap the belt out, and that was a mad rush panic to get that belt swapped out and the new one in, but getting that in meant that we could actually spin the weapon up for this fight, which was good. Like I said, we did get those couple of nice big hits in there, and then of course the belt system died. So, Annie is coming away from that competition with 1 draw and 2 losses, which is not a stellar performance, and I am going to do something about this system. So there's 2 things I can try. I already have a plate in the top here that holds the weapon motor in, so I can try having this with slides so that I can belt tension on the go in a fight, or just before fights, I should say. That is a possibility, and I might try that off camera and just see how well it works with Annie's current setup. Or I could go hub motors. Now, before you jump into my comments and tell me to go watch Robert's video, yes, I have seen Robert's video on hub motors, and I don't know that he's got the right idea, to be perfectly honest, because he has a different style of hub motor to the hub motor that was in Daedalus at BuggleBots Season 2, and the UK builders all seem to be building the Daedalus style hub motor, so I'm going to look at both of those types of hub motor. I'm going to build a couple of prototypes of one of each of those. I'm probably going to do a video on the 2 types of hub motors that exist and that are a thing in the real world, and then I'm going to work out which one's going to work for Annie, and then also which ones are going to work for this guy up here, because I'd like to have hub motors on either side of him so that I don't have to worry about belts and belt tensioning and all that in that nice complicated robot up there. So there's going to be a bunch of hub motors coming from me, most likely, because even if I don't swap Annie over, that guy's getting swapped over to hub motors. But like I said, before I do any of that, I am going to try out both different types, and once again, yes, I have seen Robert Cohen's video. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this video. Big changes will be coming to Annie in some form, some way or another. We will get some new stuff going with Annie, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have a nice, actually working weapon system for the next meet. I mean, this is probably one of her poorer performances, but it is what it is. And yeah, I think I also do need to work out how to combat those nice big pushy robots a bit more, because there are starting to be more and more of them at ARC, as it turns out. Anyway, like I said, that's going to be it from me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next video.